Hi, and welcome to the Narrative Paradigm of Walter Fisher. Here's where we're going. Telling a compelling story. Narration and paradigm, defining the terms. Paradigm shift from a rational world paradigm to a narrative one. Narrative rationality, coherence and fidelity. Critique. Does Fisher's story have coherence and fidelity? Fisher believes that we are narrative beings who experience and comprehend life as a series of ongoing narratives, as conflicts, characters, beginnings, middles, and ends. Thematic communication is communication aimed at maintaining relationships rather than passing information or saying something new. Most religious traditions pass from generation to generation through the retelling of stories. The faithful are urged to tell the old story to encourage believers and convince those in doubt. Narration is symbolic actions, words, and or deeds that have a sequence and meaning for those who live, create, or interpret them. A paradigm is a conceptual framework, a universal model that calls for people to view events through a common interpretive lens. Fisher offers a way to understand all communication and to direct rhetorical inquiry. It's a comprehensive explanation of creation, composition, adaptation, presentation, and reception of symbolic messages. Paradigm shift from rational world paradigm to a narrative one. The rational world paradigm is a scientific or philosophical approach to knowledge that assumes people are logical, making decisions on the basis of evidence and lines of argument. The narrative paradigm is a theoretical framework that views narrative as the basis of all human communication. People are essentially storytellers. We make decisions on the basis of good reasons. History, culture, and etc. determine good reasons. Rationality is determined by coherence and fidelity. The world is a set of stories from which we choose. Narrative rationality, coherence, and fidelity. Narrative rationality is a way to evaluate the worth of stories based on the twin standards of narrative coherence and narrative fidelity. Narrative coherence refers to the internal consistency with characters acting in a reliable fashion. Does the story hang together? Narrative fidelity is congruence between values embedded in a message and what listeners regard as truthful and humane. Does the story strike a responsive chord? The logic of good reasons includes values embedded in the message, the relevance of those values to decisions made, consequences of adhering to those values, the overlap with the worldview of the audience, and conformity with what the audience members believe is an ideal basis for conduct. An ideal audience is an actual community existing over time that believes in the values of truth, the good, beauty, health, wisdom, courage, temperance, justice, harmony, order, communion, friendship, and oneness with the cosmos. When we judge a story to have fidelity, we are opening ourselves to the possibility that those values will influence our beliefs and actions. Critique. Does Fisher's story have coherence and fidelity? Fisher's narrative paradigm offers a fresh reworking of Aristotelian analysis. Communication viewed as narrative means people don't need specialized training to figure out whether a story holds together or offers good reasons for believing it's true. Fisher's definition of narrative may be overly optimistic. Kirkwood argues that the standard implies good stories cannot go beyond what people already believe and value. McClure argues that probability and fidelity are too tightly linked with the normative concepts of rationality. So, to review, we discussed telling a compelling story, narration and paradigm defining the terms, paradigm shift from a rational world paradigm to a narrative world paradigm, narrative rationality, coherence and fidelity, critique, does Fisher's story have coherence and fidelity?